Hello, Turkish Films, back again with Daily Chess Analysis Episode 23. This is a game I just played not very long ago. It was a Najdorf Sicilian. And this game, we're going to try something else different. Where first, before we go through the game, I'm going to look at the mistakes the computer said that I made, and we're going to look at the corrections that were offered. So in this position, I had just stolen his h3 pawn for free. That's why his king's over here. And in this position, I thought, I don't really want to reroute my bishop. Going there kind of surrenders the d file for now. And I didn't see the benefit in trading bishops here. And so I had played bishop captures knight, guaranteeing that he's going to have a bad structure. If he takes with the pawn, he already isolated this guy. And if he takes with the queen, after I take, he's also isolated this guy. That's what I was looking at. What I failed to see with this move is that there's a little bit of coordination here. And that offers him unnecessarily counterplay. And so in this position, instead of knight or bishop captures e4, I should play bishop to e6. And another kind of general rule that I've noticed when I'm playing, notice the relationship between these two pieces. So my bishop is dominating the knight here. That means that my bishop is doing something that the knight's not, because I'm attacking that square, and I'm looking at these two squares. The only thing his knight's doing that my bishop isn't is looking back at his own half, while I'm also peering into his half. Since that guy's better than that guy, I shouldn't take off this already controlled piece. There's no reason to eradicate him. I just had a hard time seeing the value of this. In this position, playing here, he's supposed to take it. I take back, and in this position, I'm plus... Whoa. Okay, yeah, I'm plus like 2 in this position, even though I'm only up a pawn. And I don't look at this position and immediately think plus 2. But the computer's like, yeah, no, dude, you're killing it. After my move, the computer's like, it's basically equal, because I give him counterplay where he doesn't need it. Okay, that was the first mistake, or that was one blunder that I made. Another one, in this position, I had played here. I actually missed that he had such strong coordination here initially when I was calculating. And I saw that I could take this pawn. I was like, okay, there's some scary stuff that happened, but I think my queen can get back. And I failed to see. So I played queen captures g4, taking a pawn, which misses the tactic, which he should have played something else, but misses the tactic of this, which at least wins a knight for free. Instead, the move here, brilliant move, is bishop to f6. I really dig it, because it's a move that doesn't look good. It's like you're putting your thing behind a pawn, you're letting go of. I was keeping tabs on that guy. I've gotten rid of that. But I made a mistake in giving him counterplay in the first place. So now I have to pay the price of a piece of time and temporarily hindering this bishop's development to just cover it. Now what does he have, right? He doesn't have very much. He has the 2 bishops, but there's also 2 pawns that are locked in the center, and this is defending those. So I like this move. It just cuts off the rook from the defense of this guy. It does, however, fall to the same tactic. If he wants this pawn, it just doesn't end up being good, because after he takes, rook here to rook here is actually pretty strong in a lot of lines. Sorry, rook c8, attacking the queen on c6 to rook c2 check is pretty good because I'm infiltrating. Okay, the next one was bishop to h4. So in this position, I saw that I'm kind of giving him, he's kind of congregating around my king, which I was sort of uncomfortable with. But I thought that also his king's pretty cut off from the game as well, right? Doesn't have a lot of moves. So I thought I'm going to harass his king. We were also getting sort of low on time here. And so I just wanted to make somewhat scary looking moves. And I played bishop h4. The idea being that if he moves his rook, then I have the option to take this bishop. And this check, pushing him in the corner, would also win here. So that was my thought process behind bishop h4. There's a better move though, and that was just queen h4 check, which I didn't even really consider. If he leaves, computer really likes it when I play rook ac8, which attacks the queen and simultaneously looks at the c2 square, which is a nice check. And I'm just liberating my pieces. Also, it frees up my other rook, because right now the queen is attacking my rook on a8. I didn't see that, but it went from my move, which was only 0.8 advantage, to queen h4 being +3 advantage, or -3 advantage because I'm black. In this position, I missed a strong idea. I just played queen f4, checks, captures, threats, and I thought something is going to sort itself out. He's running out of time, so am I. Let's just play checks and see what's happening here. Queen h4 is a check, and that's it. It's just a check. Much better would be to take this piece that isn't doing anything on a8, my rook, and bring it in the game, Morphy style. I wish I had a third piece attacking him. So computer says, have a third piece attacking him. And when I first saw the idea of rook af8, just rook f8, which was my second choice when I thought about this position after queen to f4, I was like, well, can I really bring it in the game? Because if I bring it up on the f-file somewhere, then queen e8 check, but then I just play king h7, and he can't check me again. I mean, he can check me with the bishop. Oh, whoa. Did I just get mated? Sorry. I didn't see this till just now. If I move my rook, this is just checkmate, isn't it? Yep. Queen there, and the bishop goes to g8. And after I come back, bishop f7. Yeah, that's a normal checkmate that we're shown. Wow. I'm glad I didn't play that then. I probably would have fallen for that in the game. I didn't have very much time. Yep, that's just checkmate. But this rook is better here. It's more in the game. And after my bishop moves somewhere, then there are checks that can occur with consequences. But just they have to come with tempo, otherwise you get mated, basically. Okay, let's look over the game. Okay, so this is Sicilian, e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, so it's the open Sicilian, cd4, knight d4, knight f6, and knight c3. This is the starting position. This is the starting position of a lot of things, and I play the Najdorf Sicilian with a6. And I've talked about this before. There's the English attack. There's the what's this called? The mainline or classical. I don't remember what it's called. And actually won a game on stream in this position. There's the Opacensky, which I've played on this channel, and there's the Lipnitsky with bishop c4. There's also some other stuff like the Amsterdam and the Adams and stuff. I think I got those reversed, actually. He went for bishop d3, which I didn't know to be very good. I know if the bishop's one square further back or one square further forward, because they're doing something on those squares. Bishop d3 stops the queen from defending or interacting with the d5 hole, which is one of my main problems in the position. And the computer's recommending g6, saying you're not touching these squares, so I'll take them. I tend to play a little differently. I played e5. He went back, which is correct. So one thing I was wondering, I'm just going to check really quick. If you played knight f5, which is a temptation of a lot of players, can I play d5 in this position? Oh, it's bishop captures, pawn captures, then d5, right? Yep, then d5. Okay. And this is like the Sicilian player's dream right here. Having 2 pawns on the 5th rank. That would be brilliant. Yeah, this is very, very nice. Black is winning in this position, even if the computer says it's equal. Okay. I was just curious about that. He played knight f3. Looked normal to me. And bishop e7. So I had a decision on what my plan was going to be here. I'm always conflicted on whether to play bishop e6 or not, because it looks really great there. It's like looking out, controls the whole, is looking at both sides of the board. Really nice piece there. It kind of reminds me of the London bishop, right? That's on the inside of the pyramid. But I'm always worried about, in these positions, him just playing knight g4, knight g5 and snapping that off. But if we go through that line, if he actually goes through with this, then what ends up happening is I'm actually defending the d5 square, and that actually assists me in playing d5. And castling is even okay here because my rook is already looking at the f-file. My queen can develop, often with tempo, and interact with this f2 square. So that's why I'm always unsure if I want to do this. And sure, they're doubled pawns, but they're doubled center pawns, which are actually quite nice sometimes. So I just opted for bishop e7 and kept my option of bishop e6 for the future. He played h3, which I didn't know was a good move, but I thought, oh shoot, maybe I should have played bishop g4 then. Here he played knight c6. The computer thinks it's slightly wrong. I'm going to play knight c6. Generally speaking, when he's already moved his bishop, his light squared bishop in the opening, in the Sicilian, then I feel confident playing knight c6. Also, I played a6, so knight c6 is, pretty easy to play, even though after a6 in the Najdorf, knight bd2 b5, and the knight b6 is a better plan to put your knight behind the pawn. Okay, he played a3, which I definitely thought was a waste of time now. My knight wasn't going there. I don't think you're preparing b5, so I was kind of confused about a6. And here I had kind of a think. I thought he's not stopping me from playing this move now. And I went through some things that can happen here if I play d5. And I'll show what would happen if I had castled. So my idea was I want to play d5, which looks really nice to me. But I'm just gonna castle. So if I castle, let's say he castles, and now I go for d5. After we trade a million times here, which looks great, I got rid of my pawn. I have this advanced e-pawn. My dreams come crashing down with bishop captures h7, winning my queen. And I had actually seen this when I had played h6. I saw that I want to play d5, but I can't do it if I've castled because I lose my queen. But I also didn't want to play d5 now because my king is in the center. So I thought, I can't do either of those things right now. Okay, what's the next best thing? I could develop my bishop, but then again, we're in that position where I don't want him to take knight g5. So in order to free up my possibilities, I played h6. The idea is to stop the knight from going here, so it can't take my bishop that's on e6. Again, I don't know if that's good or bad. Also, it stops the bishop from going to g5, which would hurt this knight from defending, one of the key squares in the position. So I thought it served its purpose, and he had done two of these moves. So this is pro level chess here. A3, H3, A6, H6. But I thought my moves had a purpose. A6 is Najdorf, and H6 it seems to help two of my pieces out, and my king. So it helps three pieces to play H6. And that's generally when I make a move that I don't really want to make. I look if it has three purposes. In this case, it has three clear purposes, and the king. So I was pretty happy with this move, but the computer just says castle. A lot of times the computer just says forget about d5, which is confusing. But after he played bishop e3, I was like, okay, now it's go time. Because in so many times I've had this position where they just miss that d4 is a fork and I just win a piece. But here I saw that the center collapsed in my favor. So it all collapses. And here I was kind of a little bit thinking about b5. Computer just says, yeah, just go back to e6. b5 is a bad move, or c4 is just a bad move. It's just too flimsy, basically. So I saw it, but I thought it wasn't that big of a deal. He played bishop e2, offering a trade of queens. And in the video, you could hear me going back and forth and saying, I'm not too afraid to trade queens because maybe he's a little bit more developed. But, if I trade queens, he's even more developed. And then I said, oh, my e-pawn is further forward than his is. All the other pawns are equal, and my e-pawn's further forward, which means I have more space to maneuver my pieces. Now, it's kind of true that he has no pawns in the center, so he can maneuver his pieces wherever he wants. But that one idea of me having more space led me to not trade queens, which ended up being the best move. He castled, and here I failed to take use of the situation completely. Queen g6 is another final threat. Bishop h3 before I can castle. Also, it keeps an eye on some pawns that maybe he'll have to defend. And here the computer's main move is knight to e1, defending here. Not a move that you want to have to make in the opening. And I can actually just take more space with e4, which is just brilliant. This just locks the knight totally out of the game. The computer had a few choices here and said c3. And so if I can provoke knight e1 and c3 before I castle, that's brilliant. And I got more space. My knight can go there. So if I had seen this possibility, I wouldn't have been so quick to just castle and forego my pawn being further, his knight being backwards. Okay. He played b3, which is a move that I actually expected because his bishop appearing on c4 looks pretty scary. And I played b5, stopping him, where again, queen g6 threatens that h3 pawn. Okay, he played c4, which I expected. He wants to get his bishop on c4 very clearly. Again, I'm missing these opportunities with queen g6. Queen c2 makes a lot of sense. I took here. My idea behind taking is, if he takes with the bishop, then now these two files are open, and so my rook, the D and C files are open, so my rooks are going to appear there and be very nicely placed. Bishop c4, queen f6. And in the post-game notes, like after I'd finished the game and was thinking about it, I was like, I should have played queen g6 now. I'm very happy that I didn't play queen g6 because it actually just hangs a queen. This pawn is pinned by this bishop. So you got to watch out for bishops on c4. They're quite explosive. Even though queen f6 looks a little bit funky, it is the right move. Yeah, that's all we're going to say about that. Knight d2 is kind of confusing. I thought maybe he's trying to release his f pawn, but I wasn't really sure. Obviously, his knight wants to go there, so I stop it from going there with tempo. Knight e4 was played anyway, and queen g6. I was very happy I found this. It's attacking the knight as well as the pawn. He played f3. I was looking at... Oh yeah, he can't play here because he loses his queen, obviously. f3, I take the pawn. He played king h2, and I drop my bishop back. So that's just a free pawn, and his king's a little bit more iffy now. He played g4, which I liked because it stopped here. I didn't like it because of it weakening pawns. And we already looked at this mistake. I captured instead of playing bishop e6. I took the pawn instead of playing bishop f6. Okay, king h8. So I'm up a pawn. His king has approximately 0 shelter, where mine has 2 pawns of shelter. Although maybe there's a little bit of stuff happening here. It's kind of scary, right? The queen can even swing in here. So I have to be a little bit careful because he has somewhat of an attacking posture, where my rook and my knight aren't really in the attack at all. Like it takes this rook more moves to get in the attack than it takes this rook, because this rook is just like one move and then it's on me. Here he played queen c6, right? He took this pawn, so he's up a knight now, which I was kind of scared about, but I'm still winning in this position, even though he's up to knight. And I thought his king's unsafe, and maybe there's a perpetual here somewhere, so even if I'm down a knight, maybe I still win. I saw that this didn't work due to just the bishop dropping backwards. And here I played bishop h4, which misses an opportunity with queen h4 check. We already looked at that as well. He played queen g6, a move that made a lot of sense to me. If I take that, I'm just losing because I'm down a piece. So of course I can't trade queens. And here I played queen e2, picking up his bishop. He played bishop f2, and I took that bishop. So now I have some discovered attacks that I can play, which I was pretty happy with. Here I was briefly wondering what the problem with queen to g2 was, because my discoveries don't work anymore. I just bring more firepower in. And so now my discoveries work, and I'm not down a piece. Very cool. Wait a second. Aren't I? If here takes. Oh, my rook is still alive. I don't know why I couldn't count for some reason. So now I'm not even down a piece, and I'm up a pawn. I think it's Yasser Seirawan. Is it Yasser Seirawan who talks about having a free attack? I didn't even have to sacrifice anything. I mean, I lost the knight, but I mean, my bishop's doing good work now. He played bishop c4, which just seemed kind of artificial, right? Like, you're attacking my queen. Maybe you're trying to do that. It just seems kind of far-fetched and odd. And my queen kind of wanted to get out of that anyway. I thought there was pins and stuff. Rook ad1, right? Attacking my rook. So I trade. And now that the king and the rook are far apart, you can start to look for forks, right? And a lot of positions there's going to be forks. Like, queen there would fork the 2. Queen there would fork the 2, right? Both of those squares are covered by the queen right now, but that's kind of the point. And we went over this mistake as well. I'm supposed to play rook to f8. Instead, I checked him, which drops almost all of my advantage. Drops 5 pawns worth of advantage. King g2. Bishop d4, stopping his rook from coming in. Also now I have queen here check, which would most likely end in a fork and picking up the rook, which I was pretty happy with. In this position, he ran out of time, and so he lost the game. But you can see it was kind of back and forth there at the end. I wasn't conducting myself in the most precise way, but I'm glad I never really lost my advantage too much. In the opening, I was better. I did mess up a little bit here. I'm trying to remember what move this was. Yeah. With this whole exchange here, never playing queen g6. That's why it keeps going back and forth. I did well, and then I missed a few opportunities later on. And I went from very, very, very winning if I had played rook to f8, bringing another piece into the game. But instead playing queen f4, allowing his king a little bit of shelter. Okay, I played 93.2%, 2 blunders and 2 mistakes. That's too many blunders and too many mistakes. The standard deviation, like standard difference of a move, was 0.42, which is okay, right? If it's under 0.5, then I can say I'm satisfied, or I'm tolerant of it being under 0.5. But again, I'm shooting for something more like 0.3 average difference. As for the pieces, I played worst with the king, and second worst with the pawns. I think that has to do with a lot with h6 happening. And what was the other pawn move that I made? Well, I didn't defend my f pawn, but that doesn't quite count. But the rest of the moves I think were fine in terms of pawns. I didn't make very many pawn moves, which is why I think the number is the way it is. Oh, also playing b5. I had other stuff to attend to. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, it was a Najdorf Sicilian. I'm Turkish Films. You are appreciated for watching this video, and I hope that you stay Turkish. Thanks for watching. Bye!